And it's our Ghana month, the first day of the month of March 2018. A very good afternoon to you and you're welcome to Midday Live. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Coming up this afternoon. 11 suspected armed robbers busted by the police. A manhunt is ongoing for others who shot dead a Lebanese national in Tema. Meanwhile, revelations by the police officer points to serious shortcomings facing personnel in the fight against criminals. Also, one case of suspected Lassa fever reported in the country. Ghana Health Service set to act on it quickly. And in business this afternoon, excise tax stamp policy comes into force across the country. Later on the foreign front, Africa sets to miss UN Sustainable Development Goal. Right, so we have the detail of these and more coming up in sport entertainment. In the next hour, you can stay interactive with us on Facebook and Twitter. It's TV3 Ghana. For our very first this afternoon, 11 suspected armed robbers have been busted by the police in connection with 2 armed robbery cases in the past 72 hours. Now, a group of armed men stormed the premises of Royal Motors in the North Industrial area and robbed the auto shop on Monday. One person was shot in the process. Another robbery of a forex bureau where the robbers made away with valuables including cash. On Wednesday afternoon, a Lebanese national was shot in Tema after the robbers took 200,000 cedis from him meant for salaries of his employees. Now, the police is saying that they are on a manhunt for the rest of the robbers. Meanwhile, the Director of Police Public Affairs, ACP David Eklu, has confirmed the arrest of the 11 robbers to 3FM. Speaking on Sunrise this morning, he said the police is currently on a manhunt for the killers of the Lebanese man in Tema. Let's listen to him.
Certain basic things we need to understand. Our mandate is to prevent crime. And if we are unable to prevent and then the crime happens, we investigate, identify the perpetrators, and they are made to face the full rigors of the law. The preventive aspect is ongoing. Police presence, intelligence information gathering, etc. are ongoing across the length and breadth of this country. What has happened? So far, we have arrested 11 people.
11 people in connection with?
9 people in respect of the burglary and robberies on forest bureaus on the strictest route. 2 people in connection with the robbery attack on Royal Motors on Tuesday. And we are also aggressively pursuing the rest who are on the run. So that is exactly what we are doing, and that is what the police does all over the world.
Well, in a related development, a senior police officer has revealed to TV3 the dire circumstances under which some policemen work in fighting armed robbers. Now, in an exclusive interview with TV3, the police officer says their men have come under attack as some AK-47 rifles they use cannot fire when they come face to face with the robbers.
Can you paint a picture of exactly how dire the situation is when it comes to fighting crime as policemen?
Well, it's not easy, but then at times the situation is that it's almost life and death. It's so scary, but then we've been trained for this job. Therefore, we have to put our lives online when it comes to combating crime. But when you are fighting a crime, you must be given what you need to fight the crime. Excuse me to say, you cannot fight crimes with your bare hands. somebody is attacking with guns and other dangerous implements, therefore you, the police officer, should also be in position to defend and defend fully. But a situation whereby sometimes the things that you should have to go and combat a crime are not even there. Or let me say, if I say they are so inadequate, and it becomes dangerous. It becomes dangerous. So the challenges are many, and I don't know, but too many. I hope you recently, I don't know whether it came to your attention, somewhere in Tema, somebody was being pursued. Okay, at Tema, I don't know. But then this guy saw police officer's visibility. He ran, and then he went and trying to take refuge there. And to his surprise, the police officers also ran and left him there. And he was eventually robbed. So you don't have the impression that the police uniform alone scares people.
There's talk about the policeman who was on duty allegedly. He tried firing his AK, and then it did not cork. It did not even fire. How does a policeman get to location and the gun would not fire?
Look, police officers have on several occasions met armed robbers, have tried to fire, and it's not fired. Recently, I think in the north, a group of police officers were faced with that situation. They tried firing the guys. It was not firing. Okay. And these are old stock weapons. Weapons that were given to police in the 1990s. 1990s weapons. Look, every police officer you see in this country has confidence in the AK-47. And the confidence, when you hold the AK-47, the confidence you have, I don't know how to compare it. Because we know the range, we know how deadly the AK is. So we have it in mind that at least before a robber could kill me with my AK-47, I can flat at least 3 of them. So there is confidence in the AK-47. In Accra, I wouldn't want to put it on air or mention the name of the station, but only one weapon, one efficient weapon. And this is a station that is stocked with a lot of men.
You mean that station has one single weapon?
That is efficient. One.
Right, so the big question is, why would an AK-47 rifle not fire? Well, I don't have the answers, but John Poco is the head of conflict management's program at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center's Faculty of Academic Affairs and has done some survey on the police armory. He joins us in the studio right here. We're grateful for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning. Now, have you done some work on the police armory, and what really did you come across when you did this survey or research?
Well, we did a nationwide baseline survey on small arms and light weapons in the country, and here is a copy of the report. It wasn't done as if it's something that some group of civilians were doing it and dumping it out there. The agencies were involved, the police were involved, the military were involved, customs were involved, because we worked with the National Commission for Small Arms, which brought all the agencies under them. Now, a weapon not firing may be due to a number of reasons. The basic rule is that when you service a weapon consistently and well, it can serve you for up to 100 years. So the question is the kind of maintenance regime or the servicing regime that these weapons go through while they are in the hands of the police. That is one question that only the police can answer. The second one is also how the ammunition itself is also stored or saved. Now, part of the survey, what we realized was that the police stations have armorers, but the station officers or the district commanders were not really deeply concerned with the daily management of the armories themselves. So that is one area that probably they need to check. Unlike the military, that the commander sees as a daily responsibility to ensure that the armory is safe and is well maintained.
Now,
we don't have that.
We would want to know how bad the situation is if we have this in the police administration. But the police administration has admitted that. Well, they have admitted the conditions under which police comes face to face with robbers. Director of Public Affairs, David Eklu, says the present condition of the police has forced it to rely on benevolent support.
Not receive any such report. And I'm saying that if the policeman could not fire, it depends on several factors. It depends on several factors. Either he was caught up and he could not quickly react, depending on the professional ability or the instincts of the police officer or the skills, the professional skills of the police officer. Professionalism means that if you have some of these challenges, which we know, you have to address it to the right quarters. But what point does it serve in making this known to the public? What point does it serve?
Yes, but ACP Eklu, we the public, you're serving us, you're protecting us, you're preventing us from crime. Now, the IGP at the American Chamber of Commerce meeting admitted that the police is facing logistical challenges.
Yes, then that's what I've also emphasized.
Exactly. When was the last time guns or, rifles were acquired for the police, for instance?
I don't have any specific date, but I know that rifles have a lifespan, and sometimes some of them go bad, especially the ammunition and things like that. Yes, the current rifles that we have, some of them might go bad. That's why I'm saying that some of these issues are being addressed. But what we have now is that the little that we have now, we are making effective use of it to make sure that at least we're able to perform our functions. But what will happen is that when we get more, you will see that, yes, there is a gap in terms of service delivery for policing, basically because of logistics and manpower. And these issues are being addressed. So it doesn't mean that we are operating now at zero level. We don't have anything at all, and we have thrown our hands in despair. We are working.
Okay.
We have also taken account of public concerns because it is the public that gives us feedback on our performance. And if the public have this fear, it is also an indication on our performance. So we are concerned, and we are doing all we can to at least address these concerns.
Why, so that was the Director of Public Affairs, David Eklu, there interacting with Wednesday on Sunrise on 3FM. But we still have John Poku there. I'm sure you listened into that discussion. What do you make of the statements he made, talking about professionalism, maintenance, and the work of the police raised?
Well, I agree with the issue about professionalism, but we should not look at it in terms of whether or not the police officer knows where the trigger is and he didn't press the trigger. That's not what we are talking about. When we are talking about professionalism, we are looking at a set of standards that must be complied with. So how the weapons are kept, what guides the operations of the armory? Are the armorers trained? The police officer who uses the weapon, are they trained? Those are important elements behind the processes that leads to the officer being issued the weapon and then using it in the field in the first place. So professionalism may not be the individual on the field per se, but also the system itself and how it adapts to the changing conditions or the changing requirements that are needed to keep a weapon and the cartridges or the ammunition safe. Now, what we found was that most of the police stations that were built did not have the armory as a component, the way they were built. It came as an afterthought. So in most places, you find that the armory itself is so hot, the ventilation is so poor, and the location leaves much to be desired. And when you have ammunition in such places, the heat alone is one factor that can affect the efficiency of the ammunition itself. But let me make one additional important point, that the challenges that the police faces all over the world is, one, the growing incidence of violence and insecurity. But there's also a growing distress from the public. And that, for me, is an area that we need to look at. To what extent would a robber who fires gunshots and even attracts attention by virtue of the noise of the gunshot disappear into the same community, and the society will look the other way and not inform the police about where they are. Those are fundamental questions that we need to ask. We may go for the weapons, but that's not all. These are the physical display of the presence of the state as far as the use of force is concerned.
Okay.
But there is much in the intelligence element that is supposed to help them face
let's wrap up on the issue of maintenance. I stand to be corrected, but I know the military has systems in place when it comes to maintenance and servicing of some of the armory. Can same be said for the police service? From your survey?
I think that's where the challenge is, because most of the armories, their first training was at intake level. There is no refresher program for them. As a matter of fact, it is out of this study that the then IGP created the Office of the Armorer General to now look at the whole armory system of the police. Where we are now in terms of how they've transformed by way of developing systems, sensitizing the population or the police, or training them with it, and so on and so forth, or whether there has been new procurement. That's one other issue.
And talking about new procurement, again, it raises questions of what the armed robbers use. Small arms is what we know they use, but now it looks like they have promoted themselves using bigger arms now.
No, this study revealed that we have an estimated 1.3 million weapons in the system that the police cannot account for. It's actually an estimation of 2.3.
So
but
it justifies it's coming from the
That means there are still weapons in the system unaccounted for. And by law, it's not every weapon that a civilian is supposed to own. But then a lot of the weapons that we are seeing are not supposed to be owned by civilians, but they are in the hands of these criminals. So that is where the Commission for Small Arms and the police should come in.
Okay, we are grateful for your time. Thank you so much, John Poku, Head of Conflict Management Program at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Faculty of Academic Affairs, talking about the survey on police armory. You're watching Midday Live, and we're still talking security here as the police in Tema have launched a manhunt for 4 armed robbers who shot dead a Lebanese businessman. Now, the deceased, Ahmed Safiaddin, was returning from a bank with 200,000 cedis when some gunmen attacked him at about 10 Tuesday morning.
The 54-year deceased, Ahmed Safiaddin, is a cashier at a soap manufacturing company, Delta Agro Company Limited in Tema. According to the Tema Regional Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Joseph Benefodakwa, the victim went to withdraw the 200,000 cedis meant to pay workers' salaries. The victim was in a Toyota Corolla saloon when he was suddenly accosted by 4 armed men a few meters from his workplace. The robbers fired several gunshots into his vehicle, robbed him of the money and bolted away in a 4-wheel drive. The victim was rushed to the Raphael Hospital in Tema, but was pronounced dead on arrival. The body has since been conveyed to the 37 Military Hospital for preservation and autopsy.
And we turn our attentions to health now, as the Ghana Health Service has confirmed the detection of the dreaded Lassa fever here in Ghana. The disease is transmitted to humans via contact with food or household items contaminated with urine, saliva, feces, and blood of infected rodents. Now, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsia Asare, who confirmed this in a radio interview with Accra-based Peace FM, said the confirmation followed a test conducted by the Noguchi Memorial Institute here in Accra. Dr. Nsia Asare therefore called on the public to be extremely cautious of rodents and maintain good hygiene. Right, and Patrick Akoya is a health analyst. He joins us on the phone now. Good afternoon to you, sir. We're grateful for your time.
Thank you.
Now, we understand a case of Lassa fever has been reported in Tema. Can you confirm?
Yes, I've been speaking to, I'm currently out of Accra, but I've spoken to a few colleagues that have confirmed that indeed there is a confirmed case of Lassa fever in Tema. And
what more have you gathered regarding this confirmation?
I think the alert status has been raised. I think the Ghana Health Service in the last 3 weeks intensified their awareness and education about the situation. Now that we have reported one case, it's unfortunate, but the Ghana Health Service is doing everything possible to control the situation, to try to understand the current history of the patient, to try to look at the contact of the patient in the last few days before it ended up in the hospital, and to put in measures to ensure that the case does not get out of hand. I think the good thing is the country prepared for it, and having had a case, they are in a better position to deal with it than if they had been taken by surprise. And for a surveillance system to be able to take out a single case when it happens is something that we should allay our fear of any escalation.
Now, the issue of education is raised. Is it just in Tema, or is it a nationwide thing we are looking at regarding this case that has been recorded there?
It's actually a nationwide thing because, the nature of, we heard of Ebola 2-3 years ago. Even though this is not as disastrous as Ebola, it is equally very fast to spread. And wherever the person is coming from, it doesn't matter where you are. You can contact it and move to any part of the country. So the education is actually nationwide. Even before this case was reported, I mean, we can congratulate the Ghana Health Service for the intensive work they did even before the case, when we heard of the cases in Nigeria and other neighboring countries. A nationwide effort, if you go to every clinic, every health facility, you have materials, people are being sensitized about the symptoms, and the symptoms are not very, very drastic, but they are making every effort to sensitize every Ghanaian about the symptoms and to be alert.
We are grateful for your time, Patrick Akoya, a health analyst there, joining us from a Tema, where we understand a case of Lassa fever has been recorded there. Well, let's move on. And a deputy director of gender and disability at the Youth Employment Agency, Jacob Adongo, has accused the trial judge who convicted former JIDA coordinator for failing to evaluate the evidence presented by the defense team. A principal witness to the case at a news conference described the ruling by the Accra High Court as misleading. Godfrey Tanam has more.
Between us and Philip, you can check the record.
Jacob Adongo said he was one of the individuals who took part in the supervision and training of the 250 beneficiaries to conduct the tracer studies upon request from the World Bank. He therefore said the conclusion of the trial judge that Goodwill International Group did not produce any exit plan for the defunct NYEP is not right. He said Goodwill International Group developed an exit plan and subsequently launched it at the Alisa Hotel here in Accra. Jacob Adongo expressed surprise at what he described as the unwillingness of the prosecution team to call certain people who played crucial roles in the approval of the expenditure that was disbursed by the NYEP for a period of 3 years.
The least amount of company that such report indicted was Goodwill International Group. Lion had a lot of money, over 100 million to pay. Agambiri Group had over 30 million to pay. Better Ghana Services Management had also a lot of money to pay. State actors at the time felt it convenient and reasonable to prosecute Goodwill Groups of Company and Abugapili.
He said per the evidence he presented to the court, the transactions were between Goodwill International Group and NYEP, so the CEO of Goodwill International Group, Philip Asibit, cannot be held for anything.
If the judge was minded of the evidence before her, she would have noticed that the $5 million was being expended on preparatory activities, including the trip to Latin America, which had government officials travel to understudy a similar project sponsored by the World Bank to replicate same in Ghana.
He is of the view social and political commentators are giving their own views without checking proceedings and submission by all parties and charges they prosecuted.
Now, in response to the allegations raised by Jacob Adongo, a private legal practitioner, Nana Bafo-Ewa wondered why the public seemed to be concerned about the incarceration of public figures, even when the courts finds them guilty, stealing from the state. And he said the only option Jacob Adongo has is to appeal and not to put his concerns into the media.
Anytime a political figure is accused of committing one crime or the other, and there is a conviction subsequent to it, these are the things we see. But I think it's about time the citizens dissociate ourselves from some of these things and ensure that the scale of justice is equal, is balanced, relating to a political figure and also the ordinary citizen. Why is it that when it comes to an ordinary citizen who is convicted for stealing goats, right, nobody makes noise? But somebody who is convicted for causing financial loss to the taxpayers' money, then citizens are worried. People take political stands. If the person thinks that he is innocent, he should use the court system to clear his name.
Let's look at more news updates this afternoon. And the Roads and Highways Minister says he will see to the construction of overhead footbridges across the George Walker Bush N1 highway in Accra. After watching TV3's Dangerous Highway documentary, Kwesi Amoako-Attah expressed his determination to make the road safer. Close to 300 lives have been lost on the George Walker Bush Highway 6 years after its inauguration. The road safety documentary put together by TV3's Portia Gabo was premiered on TV3 on February 15, 2018 and has received a lot of commendation. The latest to endorse TV3's efforts is the Roads and Highways Minister, Kwesi Amoako-Attah.
I never miss that documentary, anytime it comes on our screens, because it's very educative to me, and the privileged position that I occupy. Okay, I make conscious efforts to watch because it gives me, general view of the state of our roads in our nation. It tells us that we should work harder, okay, and faster. So I congratulate you for bringing this up.
The minister has also promised government will fix the remaining overhead footbridges to save the loss of lives on the stretch.
It's on our priority list, but we have to find the funding. The funding is important, and I can tell you that it will be done. So we know the areas that we have to establish or build footbridges. And with time, little time, it will be done.
We wait to see whether the minister will make do his promise. Why so TV3 gets results? We are still waiting to see those footbridges. You're watching Midday Live. We're taking a breather. I'll return with business and some sports. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Let's do business now. And the Lands Commission says 70% of houses in Ghana have no titles. Now, out of this, more than 10% of documents covering these houses cannot be traced. The Vice President, who was sad at the situation, immediately directed the Lands Commission to automate its systems to ensure the right thing is done.
Land acquisition is a thorny issue. Several people have been robbed of their hard-earned property following inappropriate documentation. Documents at the Lands Commission are manually done and takes months to be retrieved. The Vice President's first visit to the Commission was to acquaint himself with operations. During his visit, he identified that most of the operations are manually done, wasting turnaround time. Again, he was confronted with the fact that clients will have to take 3 months to acquire land documents. He pledged his commitment to automating operations at the Lands Commission. Barely 3 weeks after his visit, the Lands Commission has organized a forum to discuss the automation process. The automation process, when completed, is expected to reduce the turnaround time. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was confident that automation will expand the work of the Commission.
We must reduce the transaction costs for individuals and businesses in every aspect of their daily lives and doing their businesses. The government therefore fully supports efforts already underway in digitizing land administration processes. This will increase information accessibility and coordination between all stakeholders.
Right, so the Ghana Revenue Authority is embarking on a tour to monitor the enforcement of the tax stamp, which takes effect today, March 1. And earlier, the GRA boss, Kofi Nti, has been speaking before that tour.
On August 31st, the Honorable Deputy Minister relaunched the whole process on this excise tax stamp. Minister of Finance himself launched the program 31st of August. And we gave timelines for implementation. And today is the first day we are going to enforce point of sale aspect of the excise tax stamp. And we've called you here to be part of the process, going out there to see how far people are implementing the thing. There are messages being sent out there like we have deferred. No, we have not deferred any process. Today is the effective day for point of sale implementation, and so we are going to go out there and do that. Before products are legitimized, it should have gone to the Ghana Standards Authority, and even if they are imported, the Food and Drug Authority has to come in, the Standards Authority has to come in, the Environmental Protection Agency, they all have to come in. It's to ensure the goods that our people consume are of good nature. It's very disheartening to be hearing of the development of these kidney problems, which have become paramount in the country, people liver challenges. It's all because of these products, and they are selling them. They have not paid any taxes. Their products have not been certified, and so.
Right, so my colleague, Paul Sowa, joins us on the line to give an update on how far the tour has gone to some shops in Accra to see if the implementation has taken effect. Good afternoon to you, Paul. And
good afternoon, Ekuya.
Right, so which areas in Accra have you visited and what can you report?
Yeah, so far the task force has been to the Oxford Mall, and we have also been to the Wala Shopping Mall and the Airport Shell Mall. We are currently at the Accra Mall. And
what can you report? Are products having the excise tax stamp already?
Yeah, currently the tax force focus is on tobacco products, and they want to ensure that every tobacco product has the excise stamp. And some of the shops do not have the stamp on them. And so today they are giving them a grace period. That they are saying that the next time round they come and it does not have the tax stamp, it will be cleared off the shop. And so today primarily is to warn them that they must not have any of the products that fall under the law not having a tax stamp.
And how long is this grace period going to last? Because I know the enforcement begins today. They were stringent on that statement. So how long?
Exactly. The grace period is only for today.
Okay.
From henceforth from today, any product that falls under the law without a tax stamp will be cleared off. And also, according to the GRA, is the duty of the retailers to also obtain the tax stamp. So as a retailer at the mall or any outlet, you have to also go for the tax stamp and affix them yourself, even though the manufacturer may not have affixed them. So you, the retailer, have the responsibility to obtain the stamp tag, which is free.
We are grateful for your time, Paul Sowa. is on a par with the Ghana Revenue Authority regarding the excise tax stamp. Well, we'll be following on that and more in subsequent bulletins. But the LPG Operators Association of Ghana have debunked suggestions that their decision to withdraw from a government committee set up to address the rising spate of gas explosions is a deliberate attempt to stifle the efforts. Now, the association have raised concerns that government has ignored its input into the cylinder redistribution policy implementation committee. Togbi Adako V is the president of the association.
Immediately, Tommy Johnson came, pam, they said, we shall roll out the policy. Anybody who stands against it, we shall deal with him. That came from the vice president himself. Then on Thursday, the president himself said, we roll out the policy. Without knowing whether what happened in atomic energy was really an accident or was a planned thing. Without even knowing the conclusion of the committee that is investigating that.
Was that an accident or it was a plan? From what do you gather?
Yeah, to me, I would suspect it to be an arson. Arson. Because the driver and the mates went around telling people that they should clear from the place. Fire was going to come. So he cleared people to safety before the fire came in.
How do you justify this wild allegation?
When the gas was leaking, why didn't he stop the engine? Why didn't he stop the engine? And gas was still leaking. He could stop the engine and the gas would not leak again. Why did he not report to the boss over there? The boss was there for almost 15 minutes, just went to the roof for 5 minutes and the whole thing happened.
You do not have any evidence to point to the fact that it was accident.
The driver and the man ran away from the place till 3 days before they got them. But what I'm saying again is this. When this thing happened, nobody knew the results. And the whole thing, the whole message came that we are going to roll out the policy. Not knowing even what actually happened there. There are 5 days or 6 days after, they say, hey, the policy is rolled out.
Let's talk about you pulling out of the whole deal, pulling out of the talks. Is that the stance your association has taken as a stance?
No, I'm not the only one there. We are 4 there. We are sent there with a message. And when we wanted to talk, they say, hey, don't talk. When we said it, they don't like it. They say they want to do high risk, low risk assessment. We said no. You are going to destroy our businesses. These businesses have been here for 26 years now. Others were there 30 years. You never gave, any day, you never gave us a license telling us this is a high risk station or low risk station. When do you know about these high risk, low risk stations? So we said no. It's a trick to destroy our business because it's what we live on, our daily bread. If you destroy my daily bread, how do I get food to eat? So we said no, don't do it. They told me point blank, it is the government it is the president himself who gave the directive. So I said, if that's the case, I would like to seek out this with the president himself. Yeah, we tell the president the truth because maybe he had not been informed of the truth of this policy. So when I see him, I'll tell him the truth of the policy.
And that truth of the policy is?
They want to destroy our stations. When they destroy our stations, there will be unemployment. Whereas the government is pro-employment. Why should they try to destroy the industry and destroy the opportunities for people to work?
Well, so our citizen journalists are at work again on the MTN video report.
So Bantama is a community in Kumasi in Ghana. Over the past 10 years, we have not received any resources from our government to develop anything in this particular community. Most of our streets have deteriorated and they are in horrible conditions. And so what we, the people, have decided to do is to take responsibility of our community. One way we can do that is to fix the little things that can be done. There is no government involvement in this project that we are doing. This is all individual efforts. And so what we are doing is to show people that you don't have to sit and wait for your government to come and help your community.
And the Ghana Premier League has been postponed again. Why? Yawvo Sulabi will be telling us in sports after this breather. Stay with us.
Right, yeah, welcome back to Midday Live. This is still TV3 and it's time now to do sports. Now, the Ghana Premier League has suffered yet another setback after it was postponed to a later date by the Ghana Football Association. A brief statement from the GFA did not mention the new date nor give any reasons for the latest postponement, but it is thought the postponement is as a result of a fresh injunction by Accra Great Olympics, who are seeking the settlement of a case involving Bechem United that could impact on their place in the top flight. Former president of the Ghana Football Association, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, says all the issues surrounding the start of the league reflects badly on the leadership of the Football Association.
That was the first thing I said. I said, what has happened tells us the state of the FA itself. And it is quite disturbing. You know, it tells you there's definitely something wrong at the FA. Because all these things should have been sorted out before even they come out to launch the league. And if these things have not been put right, then it's very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I think we have to take a second look at the FA again. I really do. You see, at times I get a bit surprised because I know Kwesi to be a very competent person. So what really is going on there, I don't understand. Kwesi was my next in command when I was at the FA, and he was a very competent person. So these sort of things, I personally don't know what is happening. There might be other things maybe I'm not aware. But I believe strongly that if Kwesi sits up, this thing should be straightened.
Right, so in a related development, the Ghana Premier League clubs are disenchanted by the FA's handling of issues surrounding the start of the league. Major clubs, many clubs have invested heavily in their squads and systems, and the postponement comes as a major blow. Communications Director of Dreams FC, Henry Asante-Chum, spoke to us on our late-night sports show, Sports Unlimited.
You have no idea how much we have spent from the time of the G8 tournament to the gala competition up until now. Huge investment has actually gone in. Prepping new players, getting technical people like Edward Ansan, Gilbert Youngson on board. Also, refurbishment at the Daewoo Park. Mike, we have invested a lot of money at the Daewoo Stadium or the Daewoo Park because we want to, you know, lift it to a certain level, appreciable level, which would be good in the eyes of people who would throng the Daewoo Stadium to come and watch our matches. And I think branding-wise, we have also done a lot. We have done new brand on our bus. We have done new, branding in terms of even our appearance on social media, getting a new logo, getting a mascot. All these are cost-intensive. And when you do all these things, you have a countdown as a club. You put programs in place, and you are told 48 hours to the start of the league that is being put on hold. I think it's such a very, 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 very bad feeling, and it's not a good moment at all.
Right, so we heard from Henry Asante-Chum there, who is, Communications Director of Dreams Football Club. But we are in the month of March, and in the spirit of being Ghanaian and celebrating our heroes, here is a video of one of the country's most celebrated boxers, Azumah Nelson, speaking to the media after his fight against Pat Kaduro 33 years ago, just to refresh our memories on how great the man was.
I came in to knock him out in the first round. Man, that's what I make my mind. But because the people here didn't treat us good, they're making all kind of ways to get the title from us. But I want to prove to them I'm the best in the world, and I want Pakado, I want Makwigan, that girl, and I'm gonna knock him out anywhere I'm fighting. I'm ready to fight for Makwigan anytime, any day, anywhere. I'm ready. This is my national flag. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of Africa. Like I said before, like I said before, McGuigan is good, and he's a fighter. And the way McGuigan fight, there's no way McGuigan can beat me. There's no way McGuigan can go 4 rounds with me because of my power. I got my power, I got experience, I got everything too much more than McGuigan. And I want him, that girl, I call her girl because she don't want to fight me. She's scared of me. She know whom I am and what I can do. I know the trainers, his trainers don't want to fight me. You know, I took the title from a young man, and any old man who wants to challenge me, hey, I'm gonna kill him.
I can get a word in line to say thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
We want Danny boy. We want Danny boy.
That's Azuma Nelson there, the Professor Zoom Nelson there, you know, with that very, very strong message. But one man who is on his way to becoming as great as Azuma Nelson, Isaac Dogbe, has sent another message to Jesse Magdaleno, telling the boxer to fix up and quit the talking. The Royal Storm believes that April the 14th bout will be his, and he will be present to present the title he wins to President Donald Trump at the White House after the victory.
He said it all. That's exactly what's gonna happen. For disrespecting me, you know, that's disrespecting my pride. You get what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna knock him out, because right now he's gotten me very angry. And I'm gonna throw him over the Great Wall of Mexico and present that title to President Donald Trump. That title belongs to the Africans, and Africans are coming. So guess what, Magdaleno, get ready for the warrior, Isaac Royal Storm Dogbe, the warrior of Africa. I'm coming to get you. Just make sure you're prepared. Make sure you make the weight. Make sure you make the weight, 122 pounds. Yeah? And that's 55.3 kilos. Yeah? And be ready.
Right, so that's Isaac Dogbe also sending a message to Jesse Magdaleno. Don't forget the fight is on April the 14th. It should be a very, very good one. But up next, let's take international news.
And on the foreign front this afternoon, U.S. President Donald Trump has stunned lawmakers from both parties by telling them in a live broadcast not to be petrified of the powerful gun lobby, the National Rifle Association. Now, in a break from his party's stance on gun control, Mr. Trump urged lawmakers to come up with a strong reform bill. He suggested expanding background checks for gun buyers and raising the legal age to buy rifles to 21 from 18. His comments come in the wake of the deadly school shooting in Florida. And coming up next, let's do some entertainment news. All right, so talking about our Ghana Month, media powerhouse TV3 and other media general platforms will lead efforts throughout the month of March to promote made in Ghana products and the Ghanaian culture. Group Head of Entertainment, Lifestyle and Events, Kenneth Addo, and Group Head of Corporate Affairs, Richard Ahiable, were on New Day to outline plans to celebrate Ghana Month.
Good morning. It's good to have you, and I love the African wear.
Thank you.
Well, so we're talking about Ghana Month. What does it mean for us as MG? What are we doing?
For us, Ghana Month means promoting our own. That we need to push the agenda of local content and promote local businesses. So this whole month of March, we are celebrating Ghana, another theme, Wear Ghana, Eat Ghana, Know Ghana, and Watch Ghana. So we're doing a lot of things under each of these separate themes just to project our country, project our food, project our fashion, like what we are all wearing today, to the rest of the world, because we do have absolutely some of the fantastic things in this world. We do.
You've spoken a bit about it, but why then is Media General really involved in this? Because somehow will say government is the one who declared it, let them handle it.
We've always been in the forefront of promoting local content. Right. So if it's through the movies we show, music we play on our radio stations, it's predominantly been local. So we think it's a responsibility we have as the leading media organization to sort of lead this effort to promote Made in Ghana. So we are doing this because we believe in Ghana. We are doing this because we want to give local businesses the opportunity to project themselves. We want to project our food, our history, our culture. And there's no perfect month to do it than the month of the birth of this country.
So Ken, now let me come to you. What are we doing on our platform for viewers to catch and feel the Ghana we're talking about?
He said we are starting with the hashtag
we celebrate GH. And so it means that on social media, this is where the action is going to be mostly for the people out there. And so with Wear Ghana, we are saying that we are celebrating our made in Ghana productions in terms of clothes and accessories and everything. And so our designers out there, we're picking and selecting some of our designers out there to celebrate them and grow with them, so that, you know, it's not easy for people to start businesses like that. Now, you out there, the viewer out there, the listener out there, send your photos of you in rocking any beautiful African wear, African print. Send to our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on 3FM, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then Unya FM and Connect FM as well. And the more likes you get for your photos, the better your chances of winning, you know, something from us. And these designers that we are dealing with are going to provide these clothes for these people out there. So that is with Wear Ghana. And so every week we are selecting 10 winners. Now when we come to Watch Ghana, we are saying that, listen, we have a rich history of film, we have a rich history of documentaries and all of that. We're bringing a lot of local movies. We are throwing you back on Thursdays to show you some old movies that you have heard of but you might not have seen, and those of us who have seen, is like a refreshing moment for us that this is what we had in the past. So we're looking at that as well.
Right, so join TV3 and Media General. Let's celebrate Ghana in this month of March. Remember, no Kutskut Sembia is strictly made in Ghana. Let's do some more entertainment news this afternoon. And after many years of grazing the movie scenes, Italian Bond Tree-speaking Ghanaian actor Romeo Kwame Yeboah says he wants to give music a try.
As Kwame Yeboah is not a new face on the Ghanaian entertainment scene. Romeo first arrived in Ghana back in 2008 and quickly acclimatized to the system, grabbing a few Twi words in no time.
As they say here, you're free back once and you're communal.
His unusual command of Twi language made him more popular, earning him movie roles. The promising talent has featured in many Kumawood movies and other notable projects. After his impressive stint in the movie industry, Kwame Yeboah has found a new passion. My
favorite type of music is R&B. Let's say that is the base for most of the music I do, but I do all types of music. I have dancehall, I have hip-hop. This is what versatility should be about. I just don't want to do what other people are doing.
His debut album, Domesa, is a love song featuring acclaimed rapper Yapono.
Right, and that would do for Midday Live this afternoon. You can get more news on 3news.com. Also, keep your conversation going on TV3 Ghana, Twitter, and Facebook. My name is Nanefia Mensah Brampa. Enjoy your lunch and have a good afternoon.